All right, here we go. Sorry about the delay. Had a couple, what do you call them, technical hiccups?
That's it, yeah. Yeah, you're looking at three of them right now.
So, this is our first kind of interview with Roan Audio Works, and we're sitting down with Arnold Hill here. They've been around for a hot minute. We played a couple shows with them. They're decent dudes, as they call, I guess. So,
You're being very generous.
So to get right to it, these are the guys. Well, three of the four. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
I am Mike. I am the lead singer and guitarist.
I'm Sam. I sing backup and play bass.
I am Heath. I sing backup and I play drums. And
Nice.
The man that you don't see, his name's Adam Blythe. He's our also backup vocals and lead guitar player.
Nice. All right. And I understand Adam is kind of a new addition, but I mean, you guys go way back anyways. Is that right?
Yeah, I've been playing music with Adam since 2005. We met at Western Carolina University and have been in some sort of band together ever since then. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. WCU. I think we all go back, to those days. You guys were at the Wesleyan Center. Am I saying? Or
the Wesley Foundation is how we all met, kind of, and it's funny. These guys were playing with another friend of ours back in the day, and a third friend, fourth friend, I don't know. Another friend was walking down the street and was like, "Hey, you play drums?" Talking to me, and I kind of got pulled in and started jamming, and
We picked him up off the street.
quite literally, yeah.
all right. Yeah. I thought so. I mean, I think I met you guys way back in the day, although we didn't have that much interaction before, not until we started realizing we're kind of in the same scene and all. So I think I was already in the Navy by that point, but I tried to keep up with what you guys were doing back to the roots, 2005, so to speak. So
It's been wild.
yeah. So, I mean, we're not strangers or anything. It's just we're trying to keep in contact across the continent, so sometimes we lag.
Yeah, quite literally.
Yeah.
Did you get any flooding or anything? Or
So
I'm
going to do...
or something, right?
Yeah. So we're calling it the hurricane.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, that earthquake was actually about just under 20 miles away from us up in a little community called Ojai. Same county and all that. We definitely felt it. As a matter of fact, I would say that it's on par with some of the stronger earthquakes that we had felt when we were living in Japan. So it's not a punk quake.
Yeah, that's wow.
Yeah, and as far as flooding and all that, we got a little bit of rain. I think 3 inches in a couple hours. But as most people around here would say, we sure needed it.
Yeah, that sounds like a regular Tuesday.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know the weather in Western North Carolina. It's,
Oh, yeah.
it's just rain.
Yeah. No, I get giddy when we get rain. Like, it starts sprinkling, I'm like... Like, no joke. There's people, like, there's a joke, like, nobody in California knows how to drive in the rain. And it's true because it never rains.
Yeah, it rains all the time here, and no one knows how to drive here either.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Oh, yeah, I mentioned snow to him. It's like, you driving that?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we don't
Yeah.
hear it because our infrastructure. Never mind. So anyway,
No, I gotcha. So it's great to finally catch up with you guys. This is something that I've been meaning to sit down and do with you for a while. So, I'm going to hop right into it. You guys are just on the end of releasing your newest EP here, Controlled Burn. I'd like to know a little bit about that. What was the recording process like? Like, did you approach anything differently? Did you try some experimental stuff? As far as my listen, which I'm probably on like the 58th listen, it's like you guys got a tried and true style. You guys went with it. You explored new songwriting territory, it felt like. Just putting yourselves out there a bit more.
yeah. So the fun part about this one was that compared to the last record that we did, the last one we did 12 songs basically in 5 days. This one we did 6 songs in essentially 5 days. So the process was a lot slower in the best way possible. I think we were able to focus on the minute details, if you will. Of course, Sam and I went in there and crushed it in a day and a half, like as we normally do.
As you do.
A little longer than that, but it was a lot more just like, let's focus on these specific parts. And now that we had Adam too, we had just more brains in the equation, which is a great thing for us. So I think it helped Mike probably focus on doing all the parts all at one time.
Adam is the guitar brain that I never knew I needed until this past year.
Yeah, and so my own experience, just to inject in there, you can come up with all these great ideas on your own as a single guitarist or songwriter. I'll make it broad, songwriter. But the moment you introduce another brain into the equation and they start thinking in a different way than you do, using their own influence, you come up with some really crazy and original ideas a lot of these times.
Well, and it helps that you have that history with them too.
Well, and not for nothing, typical Arnold Hill fashion is a lot of times someone will come up with lyrics or just maybe not even lyrics, like literally like with Heath just writes. And then he's like, hey, put music to this. And so having Adam come in, he brought kind of a new way of hearing things that, we kind of haven't been playing together for so long, get stuck kind of in that loop of like, we kind of know what each person's song is going to sound like. And then Adam comes in and, reinvents things, but in a really good way. Like,
yeah. Like, you got to have a hook. And we're like, yeah, we don't know how to do that. And like, we need you.
We need you. Need the special sauce.
And it's something I think that I learned in this process was even just in the 6 songs and trying to do that in 5 days is so hard, right? Your ears and your brain get so tired. So like Sam and I even went back and did background vocals like a month after, 3 weeks after. And it was nice to kind of come back with like fresh ears and fresh minds. And like, we we recorded over in Hendersonville, North Carolina with our buddy Andy Bishop at Giraffe Studio. He's super great at helping us just like feel comfortable in the space. So it was nice to like go back and be like, all right, let's listen to him with fresh ears after we, listen to him with a little bit. And it's like, all right, let's add in this harmony or this aux percussion or like whatever. So
yeah, yeah, and that's so 2 points. That's a huge testament to your musicality, your professionalism. You go into a studio, you got so many days, and you had this clear idea about what you want to track and get done, and you slam it down. And yeah, sure, a couple overdubs here and there, but I mean that's a huge testament to how well you guys can read each other and just layer on yourselves too. So I wanted to point that out.
Yeah. Thank you.
And then point 2, you just mentioned, make you real comfortable in the studio. What, in your opinion, and this is incredibly subjective, I know, what in your opinion makes a studio comfortable or inviting or conducive to a songwriting process? I'm taking notes too, by the way, for my own studio.
I want Mike has a real weird studio, like when he sings.
So a good studio experience for me is I can become vulnerably unhinged. So turn the lights down, get my lyrics in place where I can see those, put my mic in a certain place of the room, make sure the rest of the room's open. So if I need to go jump around or run around the room, I can. Just let myself feel exactly what I'm singing. So Andy's studio is good enough for that because it has that place you can do it. So, brings out the creative.
Okay.
But I also think that too, like having a producer or engineer that you're comfortable with helps a lot. Andy's really good at, and this is not just to be an advertisement for him, but also like go check him out. It's like he's good at making us comfortable and saying like, hey, like why don't you take 5 or making us feel like we have what we need.
Well, and then I think the thing I would add that is kind of what you're talking about, which is what makes the studio experience comfortable, at least the way we've been doing it these past few albums, is also what's happening outside the studio, where we're renting Airbnbs, we're hanging out the entire time while we're together in the studio, we're together outside the studio, so that we can kind of reflect and decompress, and so that has also been great. So you really can focus on the goal and not have to worry about going back home. You got to work in the day, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to add to all three projects that we have went and recorded and released. There's been a really good directional flow in how we put the songs together, as far as going in.
Well, maybe not the first one.
It was a learning curve and a half. I mean, overall, it still worked out really well for the final project.
Yeah.
But the directional flow of how we put together music makes the biggest difference in the world when you're in the studio.
Okay. You kind of garbled there at the end. Could you repeat that?
I don't know.
It's just knowing kind of what structure we're going to build on. You obviously you start with your skeleton of bass, drum, maybe some acoustic kind of stuff, and then it's like, all right, let's add rhythm guitar, and then okay, let's add this after that. So that kind of building blocks that we do leads way for more creativity, right? There's things that we listened to on the last album when we got the very rough mixes. That Sam and I would driving to a gig or something, and it's like, oh, what if we added this vocal part right here, or what if we added this tambourine right there, or I had a weird little thicker scratchy part, in the song "You Were Mine." And it's something you think about. So it's you just build until you're finally okay, this is complete. And then I think the thing that we run into is that we start playing it, and it's oh man, I wish I'd added this, So there's always that feeling of the song's never complete, but I'm really happy with where we are in the final product,
Yeah. Yeah, naturally. And just from a producer's point of view, it's always you always get down your bass idea first. Your meat and potatoes, your rhythm guitar, your bass guitar maybe, It could just be guitar and vocals. And then more often than not in the studio, you're well, this part sounds like it could actually complement this auxiliary instrument.
Right.
And it comes from the weirdest places, too, because you get that down, you start listening to it. Well, I listen to it incessantly just to get ideas anyways. But you're you know what? There's nothing going on in this space. Let's fill it with a banjo in one particular instance. And it came down to a couple of very weird additions when I was tracking in Nashville once. We ended up using a pencil clicker as a percussive track. So click, 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 and it's, you process it, you make it not sound like a pencil click anymore, and suddenly you've got this nice beat that, came out of nowhere, essentially.
Well, and you saying that, Chase, is actually good. There's an Easter egg for all Arnold Hill albums that are out and all moving in the future. There's always one track that has a vibra slap. So
okay,
we encourage people to listen and find the first one on the first record. Very easy to find, but they get a little harder as you go on.
He wants to say that because that's his one percussion credit on the.
It's like the intern that walks into a songwriting session and says, "Oh, you need to use a instead of an," and then suddenly he's got a writing credit.
Exactly. Yeah. Or on the first record, there's a cello on there that Mike plays. There's a horn on the first album.
Okay.
And if you can find it, we'll send you $20. Yeah, so it's super buried in the best way possible because Mike's a great horn player, but maybe it doesn't belong on the album. But Mike's I brought the horn. And we're just why? And he's I don't know. So
because
valuable studio time used up for a horn.
So why not?
No, I mean, so Jimmy Eat World had a ton of tape that's already been paid for, but they had 20 minutes or something on it. This was Clarity, I think. And so they just wrote a 15-minute song that just keeps going and going called Goodbye Sky Harbor.
Yeah. It's why not, So.
Yeah, why not? Oh, that's funny. So you may have touched on this just a little bit, but did you go into this latest EP, the Controlled Burn, with any sort of vision on it, overarching element, or you just were on a songwriting binge?
Yeah. Well,
there was a plan in place, but
we wrote all these songs, and we didn't, when we write songs, we don't write them with the intent of like, oh, this pairs well with this other song that we wrote. Like, we just kind of write them and let them go. But we noticed, like you've already pointed out, the more that you are in a band with someone and you get to know their writing, get to know them, you kind of notice like everyone. It kind of becomes like a shared thing where you just start writing like each other. And so for this one, it was, songs, they all kind of carried a similar theme. And we had an initial concept where we were going to call this, what is now Controlled Burn. We were going to have like a winter and a summer EP, where our winter EP was going to be a little bit darker, a little bit edgier, and then the summer EP was going to be a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more energetic, and so on. Now, we scrapped that idea, of course, but but those were the roots of as we were putting these tracks together. As we were like, oh, this song that Heath wrote is, sad. Kind of sad. Heath is really good at writing sad songs. This song that Heath wrote is really sad. This song that Mike wrote has like really like deep philosophical questions in it and stuff like that. And then we go from that way. So for this album, it just kind of came together naturally. And I think that's just because we've been doing it for a long time together, that we just kind of inherit each other's ways of doing things.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody that I've sat down to write with, there's a certain kind of mojo that you have between y'all, and you can almost predict kind of their parts, but they always seem to surprise me. Like, yeah, sure, they might play in their traditional way, but they'll add a little something to it every now and then, and I find that, kind of freshens things up.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Yeah, and so this is one that I really wanted to touch on, and it's Seminole Wind. It's one of your only recorded covers, actually. Yep. Tell me, why did you guys decide on that? I mean, are you fans of John Anderson in general, or does the song resonate?
Well, I'll give you the backstory. Yeah. So we have a buddy of ours here in Waynesville. His name is Blake Yoder, and he and his wife have a little country duo where they play a bunch of like old country songs and some original stuff too.
Well, 90s country, not so much old country.
90s country. So we were a backing band for them for a couple of shows, and we were like, yeah, let's do Seminole Wind, like that'd be fun. And it was one that we just kind of like started doing, and Mike knows it like the back of his hand, obviously.
Yeah, that's literally one of the first songs I ever learned to play on guitar.
Yeah, so we started.
Oh, that's cool.
We started kind of jamming on that song, and we're just like, let's rock it up a little bit. It's like, I mean, I carry a double kick pedal for a reason, so I'm going to use it. And it just kind of turned into that. So we were outside of a brewery in Hendersonville. We were playing a festival over there last year. And we're like, you know what? That song kind of kicks ass. Like, why don't we record it? Like, with just us. And, we'll put our own little spin onto it. We'll gain up the guitars a bit. Of course, throw that double kick and some China in there. And it's like, let's do it. So now it's like, it's second nature for us to just like, rock out a song, but that one just we really crafted.
Well, I mean, at that time we were also trying to figure out how to round out the EP. We did not have that last song to put on there. We were not really racking our brains, just trying to figure out what would fit the best. And Ethan brought up we could always do a cover. And we're like, yeah, look at, and so we started thinking on that, and then finally it was like, Seminole Wind. Let's do that. That's a fun one.
Yeah. It's also like it's recognizable enough to where people are like, I know this song, but I don't like know this song unless you're like a hardcore fan, which we've met a number of.
If anyone comes to see us do it live, if they catch us on the right day, you'll definitely know that you've heard the song before, because I like to do a John Anderson impression. It's decent, I think.
No, it's damn good. It's damn good. Yeah.
I got to catch that. Hopefully I get to experience that if we get to play next year.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. 100%.
Yeah, it's a fun, and then like when we were recording it, Adam started playing that. Like Mike did a solo, which was like a ton of fun, but still like kind of southern rock.
It was very southern rock country, not alternative.
Because it's Mike, and then Adam comes in with that just ripping solo at the end, and we're just like, oh, okay, like this is a rock and roll.
All right, that's what we're doing now.
It was so fun. So
Oh, that's awesome.
We're hoping that Mr. Anderson will catch on to it and, do something with it, but to be determined. So
That'd be kind of cool. You make a TikTok or a YouTube video, say, hey, why don't you come out and catch us sometime? You might see a surprise or hear a surprise.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be really cool. I hope that happens. Okay. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on the EP is, like you mentioned earlier, there was a slow release on this EP. A week at a time, you'd release a single until you release the whole EP. Do you think that you would kind of like to explore that territory again? And I'm going to preface this by saying the trend these days, and a lot of major bands are going this route too, which is going back to the single releases instead of the album releases. Like way back when recordings first started, they'd release a single at a time because albums weren't really a thing. And it's kind of funny seeing things circle back to that kind of mentality where singles are the sellers and albums are nice and they're full of material of a artist you might like.
That's the fartest all day.
But, for the most part, you're seeing streaming numbers for singles, not albums anymore. So do you think you're going to take this approach again?
It's actually interesting that you bring that up because we had a gig this past weekend. We had a couple gigs, but at the last one, as we were tearing down and getting things packed up, we were kind of talking about what direction we always kind of think in terms of like years, basically. And so for the coming year, what do we want it to look like? And that was actually part of the conversation as far as, as fun as it is to record an album and all that other stuff, there is the pressure, like he talked about. We limit ourselves to 5 days. Like part of that is financial, but also part of that is, we all work full-time jobs. Like we can't just take off time to do this. And so, and then Adam brought up, the idea of instead of trying to just write song, like, okay, we need a 6-song album, let's write 6 songs. Let's just do like what a lot of big artists do is just write songs for the sake of writing songs. Write one, make it sound good, work it out live, make sure everything's cohesive, then bank it and bank it and bank it and bank it until you just got a bank of songs to be like, okay, for this next album, let's pick these 5 songs out of the 20 we have banked or something. But I think we're also from a time and financial standpoint, and this is a conversation we'll have as a band later on, but it's certainly one of, what if when a song's ready, we go record it and then, release it and not try to fit it into an album style or anything like that. It's just release it when it's ready because you're right. Like ultimately people consume music that way. It's not people just don't listen to albums straight through anymore. And that's okay. Like times change and bands should be able to change with them. And so like, I think that's kind of our motivation moving forward, at least for this next year.
Yeah. I think
sure.
The thing is like
soft release earlier in the year to try that out.
Yeah. People's attention spans are short. Like we live in an age where people have, like TikTok and Instagram Reels where it's like, I need this right now. I care about it for a day and then I'm done. So that's kind of
it's that dopamine hit.
Right. So that's how we approach this one where, we released 3 singles and we released the rest as, just like a full package where it was, hey, we're still like, for the way I look at it is like, it's relevant. In the last one, we put 12 songs on a record. You can see the stream numbers literally go down because people lose interest, right? For me, I listen to an album straight through multiple times. That's just how I am. It's how the artist intended. I'm not the norm, I'm a musician who listens to albums as it's intended. I've listened to the new Greta Van Fleet album probably 20 times straight through because that's how it's made to do. It's a great record. Go check them out if you've listened to us 100 times. But that whole concept of building a concept album, Fleetwood Mac's Room, for example, no one really does straight down anymore. So we may re-record a song and re-release it, or we may just pop out a song every couple months just to,
Also, that's fun to do for us.
Yeah,
we do that for fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And which brings up a philosophical question. Could you see a band like Pink Floyd surviving today on singles?
Oh, that's a great question. I think it's hard to say because they have such staying power with their whole record. But like, people
Sure, they're established though, right?
songs from them. So
Yeah, I think. I mean, again, my hypothesis would come from professional musicians. If they want to stay relevant, will stay relevant. So, like the days of Dark Side of the Moon are kind of gone. Like Heath said, the idea of just a concept straight through. But, I mean, Pink Floyd also released Money, and that's
Sure.
super catchy.
And
And, like if they just
you got your I Wish You Were Here and Have a Cigar. There are songs designed to be singles. Sure,
Right.
sure.
But I also feel like there are albums designed to be concepts, but those albums are made for musicians. Like in a weird way, like you have a band that's like, there's like a prog metal band called Tesseract, right? If everyone's heard of them or not, but they release like their whole album together, which works. But there's like little sections, like it's like a whole. That's the show you go to where all the audience is doing this. They're like, they're not singing or whatever. They're just like, I can do that. I can do that.
Yeah.
And it's like that's music made for musicians.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what's funny is that way back in 1993, Billy Corgan in an interview with Guitar World said that guitar players only really play ripping solos to impress other guitar players. And I was like, thinking about that sense, it's like, he's absolutely right.
Yeah. Mike and I went and saw the Winery Dogs like 2 months ago in Nashville.
Oh my God.
And the whole crowd was this.
Well, it was exactly what you think. It
Yeah.
was a bunch of dudes like us wearing shirts with guitars on.
Well, I had drum stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. But I mean,
I would have done that different.
a bunch of gearheads who like playing guitar. So,
Yeah.
But I will say that the nuance of it too is even beyond like even a single to some degree can be too long. What Heath was saying, where Adam is so good at writing hooks, is honestly that's where you live and die is by the hook. Because again, if you're thinking of TikTok, you're thinking of 10, 15, 20 second consumable content.
And those songs are just hooks. They're just melody, like catchy melodies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The TikTok, there's like whole, Spotify playlist for TikTok songs. And it's like every song's a minute and a half long. And I'm like, that's not even, that's a jingle. That's a commercial,
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the appeal of jingles too, is it gets in your head and it won't leave.
But I'm like an 80-year-old man in a 31-year-old man's body. So like I don't even have TikTok on my phone. So I want to listen to music to enjoy it. I want to know what the artist intended and all that kind of bull crap and stuff. And I'm just like, I get the short, catchy things, but man, I hate them.
Right, and they serve a purpose. It's meant to push views, which translates into money a lot of times. And just right. So yeah, I heard the hardest thing to ever do on guitar is make money. But I mean, that's the Nashville machine in a nutshell. In like a compressed, just crack ball of money making is those little 20-second, 30-second jingles. I mean, you've heard that Nashville formula. It's, get to the chorus under 30 minutes within your song, or it's not going to be on the radio.
Right. I mean, these guys have plenty of experience in Nashville and the country band we were all a part of, and
But that also this is kind of how different like our latest release, Controlled Burn. There's not a single song. I think the shortest song on there is like 4 minutes and 19 seconds or something. Yeah. So like that's those are not radio friendly numbers. But at the same time, our intentions are different. We make music because we like to play it out. We understand that it's not a money making machine for us. We all have full time jobs. We do this to to keep ourselves happy, and everyone needs a side gig, and this is ours. And so if a song's going to be an average song on an album is going to be over 4 minutes.
Sure.
As long as we have fun and our fans like it, then great, we did nothing wrong. Yeah.
Well, that's like so the guy. And the name is escaping me, but the guy that formed Boston, or who is pretty much Boston, just recorded songs that he wanted to hear on the radio. That was his whole approach. It just so happened other people wanted to hear that too. So I think it's important to get you guys this music out because it does. To me, it's definitely a piece of a genre that exemplifies kind of the Western North Carolina sound. It's not any one particular sound, obviously, because you have Asheville. Then you go down to, Hendersonville, or you go up to Boone. There's several, many different types of music being played, all the way from bluegrass to country to what the Texans call like red dirt style country. But I think that your music offers something that you can't readily get off of the radio, like if you tune to a country station or if you tune to a rock station. And I think it walks a nice little line where it captures the nice elements of both. You've got harmonies, you've got a great melody that sticks with you. You've got all these different elements that I would like to see pushed out as a regional type of music. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but me being in California,
people listen to us.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, I mean, we get like varying labels as far as what we are, because like Mike as a lead singer has a natural like kind of twang to his voice, right?
Yeah, there ain't no hiding this.
I mean, there ain't no hiding this. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
it is what it is, man.
What it is. So it's like we're not country. We might be country at heart. We all like to burn stuff and ride four wheelers, but like
that's fair.
I mean, our music is clearly not country.
Sure.
Especially for the new record, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's like we'll fit wherever people want us to fit, and for me, that is like just them enjoying it. I don't care. I don't like the genre lines are so blurred nowadays. Anyway, I think like if you look at most of the major country acts, their backing band is a hard rock or metal band. Let's be honest. It's like we just want people to hear us and enjoy it for whatever they interpret it as.
And it's funny, and I think I might have mentioned this before, but when I worked on your material before, either mastering it or whatever, I always, funny enough, use Zach Brown Band, Foundation in particular, a few songs from there, because some of those aren't quite country, not quite rock, but it fits your instrumentation and how well you'll fill up the audible spectrum.
Right.
There's a lot in common, but you have your own unique thing going. And so if I'm working on your material, I'll use Zach Brown and to a certain degree, folks like Neil Young also.
Yeah. That's where, whenever I'm reaching out to venues for booking, I label us as alternative rock / Americana, right? That's kind of the...
Americana's good, yeah.
The encompassing word of country that's not... Oliver Anthony or whatever his name is. I don't mean to bring him up, but I have to. It's just like, we have a couple songs that may sound a little twangy, and that's just because of how we talk. But at the end of the day, we're playing drop D, gainy stuff, and double kick stuff behind maybe some of the Decemberists or, something that's a little more reserved generally.
Well, I think the TikTok people would call it y'all-alternative.
Y'alternative.
The word I've heard before. Y'alternative.
Okay, yeah. That's very much,
And then William Ritter, he referred to his own music because some of it's a little upbeat. He'll call it a Hickster music.
Hickster, yeah.
That's great.
Well, and I'll say this. One of the things I think of whenever I'm, if I'm writing a song or if I'm playing a song or if we're together coming together, like for parts and all that, one person that's always in the back of my mind who I know will never hear our music, but I always am like, if he heard it, I would want his approval, is that music producer and YouTuber Rick Beato.
Yeah.
Rick Beato does great deconstructions of songs, and I'm always just like, what would he say if he were deconstructing? Because as great as his knowledge of music is, he also will, like, if he hears something that he's like, this is just a simple, 1564 song that is like, he'll say, like, this is boring, this is just what you hear. Like, I always want to hope that he's like, oh, they did something a little different there. Because when he points it out, it's always like, God, that was...
you see what they did, the little modulation here, it leads into the minor seventh, and it goes down to resolve to the tonic. This is fantastic.
Yeah. And I don't know what any of that means, but I love it. So,
No, it's like, and all right, admittedly, I do watch his stuff. I love how he deconstructs a lot of it and how the song is made. He does have his boomer moments where he's like, this stuff doesn't appeal to me. But that being said...
That's because you're the youngest old dude in the band. So.
But yeah, it's I would love to sit down with him, and I also want his Les Paul Special double cut guitar, his one with the P90s in it.
Yeah. As a P90 player, I know it's too much about guitars. I love that guitar. So.
Yeah, I got the Jim Atkins, and it's got a couple P90s, and I'm like, I usually play lace sensors. That's in all my guitars, but I really dig the P90s here.
Yeah.
So, rants aside, but yeah, Rick Beato or Beto, whoever or however you want to pronounce it, and Al Yankovic, those two people, if you get their attention, you know you made it.
Yeah. Oh, Weird Al came to the Caverns over in Tennessee last year, I think. And that was one of my biggest regrets of the year, not going to that show. My grandpa and I used to listen to Weird Al when I was growing up. And it's just like, he's such a genuine person.
Right.
And like, also his band is a powerhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right?
I mean,
like, I'm glad somebody else recognizes that.
Those guys are so good. And I'm like, next time he comes around, like, I'm waiting for his, like, retirement or farewell or whatever, which hopefully never happens. But I'll go. Like, I'll fly to that show. I don't care,
I want him to go out just like he did in his movie.
Yeah. That movie was so good.
I didn't see the movie.
Oh, my God. Watch it. I won't give anything away, but it's...
I'm so bad. I've never seen any movie ever other than Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, so it's fine.
All right. So, moving right along, I got so much stuff I want to ask you guys, but it's also fun just kind of chilling and hanging with you guys and going back and forth. So, 3 influences each. What are your biggest influences?
No.
I'll start.
Yeah.
So probably the longest standing influence for me, and this is just from a bass perspective, is Peanut from 311. Just because I grew up, I have an older sister, and so I was born in 1986. She was born in 1982. So she was listening to those albums that like I may not have been exposed to. So like the Blue Album and Grassroots were just talking about. So Peanut, for sure. Oddly enough, who's like coming in a little bit more nowadays is I'm gonna blank on his name. I should have said it. Pause on that one. But most recently, Joe Dart and Wolfpack.
Okay.
I love Wolfpack, love Joe Dart, and so they're Peanut, Joe Dart, and somebody that I can't remember because they're that important to me. Are my
Now, I want to point out one thing real quick. If you're listening to 311 and you're not jamming out with the bass, you're listening to music all wrong. I don't care if that's subjective or not.
Yeah, no, it's true. They build their songs around either a rhythm guitar line or a bass line. I mean, it's killer.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to go? Or you want me to go?
I don't even
All
know.
right, I got 3. So, from a drum perspective, I think it's low hanging fruit, but it worked. Is John Bonham clearly? I mean, he's
all right.
He's timeless. I mean, he's like, if you're a drummer, you don't appreciate what Bonham did or Bill does for people. You should re-listen to him. The second one, and this is clear, is my homie Matt Greiner from the metal band August Burns Red. He's such he thinks of the song in a full thing, right? So. Yes, it's a metal band, but yes, it's also like a bunch of best friends having fun, which is I think what we are, and it's like everything speaks to the music. So definitely recommend checking him out. Tell him I sent you. I'm just kidding. And then from a writing perspective, because I do a lot of our lyrics and stuff, we collectively do that, but I have this kind of thought process of Jason Isbell, right? So. Jason Isbell is unapologetically writing what he thinks and what he feels. And that's kind of what I want to do too. So it's more of like, yeah, I can rhyme, AABB or, the same 3 words over and over again. But it's like, I want people to connect to it on a deeper level, right? So that's where it's like a WWJD, what would Jason do? It's kind of my writing idea. So yeah, Jason Isbell is a big influence of mine, and just his whole band. As a performer, they're so tight, they're so connected. Yeah, love those. So I go from from modern metalcore to classic rock to modern Americana. We're all over the place, you know.
Yeah, no, that's diversifying your sources is like huge, and that's how new genres are created. That's how new material is created by mixing all these influences. Like as far as lyrics go, James Taylor, Joni Mitchell are who I've always wanted to be. And it goes from there. My lead guitar style, that stems from Billy Corgan, that stems from Eric Clapton. The list goes on. And you just mix all that up and see what you get. And that's how we move forward.
And that's something that, not to like step on Mike's toes, but something that we've kind of all like done from the get-go, right? Where Mike is Southern rock, classic rock, guitar player, singer, whatever. Sam's like a funk bass player at this point, basically, and I'm a metal drummer. And Adam is a jack of all trades. He plays
prog rock.
He loves prog rock, that's for sure. So
does he really?
Oh yeah, huge. He introduced all of us to Sleep Token, so we're just like big Sleep. Oh, I am a big Sleep Token fan. So it's just like all that mushes together in this like weird, cohesive, tight group. And as people are just like, we don't really know what to call you, That's kind of where we are still. So,
yeah, that's not a bad place to be.
How to even answer my influences? So I'm going to say. Yes, music has influenced me.
We are his influences.
You're your own heroes.
I mean,
Chris Knight.
Chris Knight is a solid. When I started taking songwriting seriously, was my biggest influence. I mean, we're talking 10 years ago plus. And so, Chris Knight was my biggest songwriting influence. Guitar, I don't even know.
Richie Cosson.
You like his Richie Cosson is one of my favorite guitarists. I'm not influenced by how he plays because I played nothing like him, or even attempt to use his style. But I do have his pickups in my telly, and they're amazing. And his fly rate. So
nice. All right. Yeah. I mean, it just goes to show like your style is just kind of coming together through all these different influences. And while some of it is, apparent, there's a few answers in there that really surprised me. So that's really cool to know.
Yeah. Like we're a big conglomeration of music, and that's kind of what comes out in some sort of little package when we play shows.
Dumpster rock.
Don't say that. No.
Dumpster.
Yeah. Cut that part out.
Okay, got it. Edit. So, real quick, without thinking too much about it, if you had one person, celebrity, not musician, not to talk to, dead or alive, for 5 minutes, who would it be?
Not musician?
Doesn't have to be.
Yeah, just one person.
Oh, just one person, dead or alive. Like, oh God.
This is really tough.
I'm throwing out the hard hitters on the very first interview.
One person?
Yeah, just one person. If you had a magic spell, a wizard said, you have one person you can talk to. And then he tells you to give a... What's that?
So this comes from this has nothing really to do with music, but as anyone that knows me can tell you, I'm like a big horror nerd and all this other stuff. I would talk. Thank God he's still alive. I would have a conversation with John Carpenter.
No kidding.
Yeah, John Carpenter. Because one, we see him as an icon and legend of the horror movie industry, but also he, any movie he puts out, he's also putting the music for, and he understands how to make iconic feels, and setting moods and things like that aren't always have to be like in your face of something huge, gory, or huge violent, or huge anything. It's just like creating an atmosphere. But also, Halloween is arguably one of my favorite movies, and so just for that alone.
No doubt, respect. That's awesome. My brother's a huge John Carpenter fan, and just the music in his stuff is just it's iconic. That's you can play that on the piano anywhere, and somebody will be like, Halloween.
Yeah, he made general audiences accept a theme song in 5/4. So,
which is that wasn't done again until Tool. No, I'm kidding.
I would say mine would would be Robin Williams.
Oh, got it. That's awesome.
Just love him. I love his humor. I love his personality. He was authentically himself, like all the time, on and off the screen. So, yeah, I just love that.
I mean,
also, he's hilarious. So,
yeah, I mean, what can you say that already hasn't been said by poets better than anybody that I know or myself? Right. I mean, his personality is permanently ingrained into my memories.
Yeah.
In whatever role.
Yeah, I feel like we all grew up with him in various roles, whether it be Dead Poets Society or even Aladdin. Like all those films that he was in, and his stand up and all that. It was tough whenever I got the news. We were at the beach, I think, whenever he passed away. So that was a tough one for me. So
yeah, that one was one of the only celebrity deaths that I really kind of internally mourned too. Funny enough.
For sure.
But sorry about that. My son is having a screaming fit, so I have to mute my mic every now and then.
That's okay. That's good.
Man, I got a 3-year-old. I know what's up.
Yeah, he's 7 though. It's all good. He'll get it out of his system.
Who's my person? I've been over here thinking the whole time.
You're thinking too hard.
I smell something burning, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Hang with Elton John, favorite musician of all time. There you go.
All right.
Really?
I've got
Your favorite musician of all time is Elton John.
Absolutely.
That's 100%. I mean, that's fair.
100%.
Didn't know that.
I'll be honest. I never would have guessed.
No, same.
But I mean, I don't pull any influence from what he does. I love his work.
He seems like a cool guy to sit down with.
Benny and the Jets. I will openly say that, except for that song.
The song sucks. No offense, Mr. John, but sir, Mr. John.
Yeah, you better put that "sir" on there. All right, we got about 15 good minutes. We don't have to take all of it up. But through our conversations, we've gotten through a lot of what I wanted to ask you. Things like where did you meet, and where do you consider kind of your home base? Is it Silva
Silva and Waynesville.
How many years has it been since 2005 is when I left, and I can't get the name right.
You didn't say Sylvia, so
Sylvia. Yeah.
I almost did, though.
Oh.
Yeah, that's fair. I think we consider...
You're from Mitchell County. You get a pass. You're just far enough away.
That's fair.
I think we consider Waynesville our home just because it's slightly closer to a recognizable city called Nashville.
So. That's where we practice and everything. So.
Yeah.
We're pretty out here.
Yeah, I would call Waynesville then if that's where you practice and just kind of woodshed. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Come visit.
Where's? I've never been through Waynesville. That'll be such an experience.
Well, we'll take you to the beer hall. We'll introduce you to the people who need to know. So.
Does it? But it won't smell like the old paper mill.
Not anymore.
No, the can and paper mill is closed. And,
yeah, that's. I read that and it was a little bittersweet. I was like, oh, that's sad. Wait, no, that's not sad at all. What am?
I mean, I'll say this without getting this. Obviously,
is it a hot button?
Integrate. Well, it's hot button amongst everyone. Clearly, it's very sad. Huge industry gone.
Sure.
Big employer. But I will say, sorry, this is not what the podcast is about. Canton Canton has really good leadership, and so that town is going to. Since now that the mill's closed, they are seeing things that they may not have intended, which is like the Pigeon River starting to clear up more. So I think they're going to dig their heels more into some outdoorsy adventure tourism, which is, in my opinion, as a resident of Haywood County, makes sense, and that's what I like.
Sure. Yeah. And sorry, I didn't mean to imply that people losing their jobs is great.
No, it's just
oh wait, Chase, that's going to be headline in the Mountaineer next week. Californian downplays our hometown heroes.
Podcaster craps all over local industry.
I'll make sure to send it to you. For sure, so.
I appreciate that. I'll put that on my refrigerator.
We love County. We love the folks. There's some other great musicians from this area too. Some friends of ours and some friends that Mike is connected with well in a band called Balsam Range, if you've ever heard of them.
Oh, yeah.
So,
God, just one county over, below us in Transylvania County. I mean, that's the home place of Steep Canyon Rangers. Huge.
Yeah.
That's right.
Huge.
Yeah.
Western North Carolina really is a special place for, like you've already said at the top of the show. Bluegrass is clearly what people think about, but I mean, there's a lot of talent in the mountains up here, and so it's very nice that we kind of get to share and have a little piece of that pie with everybody.
Yeah, and for the longest time, well, when we were playing in Loafer's Glory, that was 2001 to about 2005, there was also a huge metal scene that I never would have thought existed, but it was kind of based out of Cherokee there for a while, and it moved out to closer to Asheville.
Yeah.
But just like, go ahead.
I'll say there's a re-emerging punk scene in Asheville now, too. Some friends of ours in a band called the Deathbots, and some other bands, like there's one in Haywood County that's Helen's Bridge. They're more of a pop, like a punk metal band. Like the punk scene in Asheville is like emerging. Like
and it's like
that's cool.
Like, it's fun. Kind of that authentic '80s punk, like you think of like Dead Kennedys and stuff like that, where it's just like long songs of just screaming in your ear.
Your grandma's very uncomfortable looking at those people. So.
That's cool. I mean, that kind of existed, although around that time we were breaking out with My Chemical Romance on the national scale. So My Chemical Romance, the whole Yellow Card, that sort of thing going on. Yeah. But there was a very independent sort of DIY, I don't want to say punk, but it was definitely like an indie sound in the area. But just like Nashville, Western North Carolina does have a lot to offer. Like there's a huge metal scene, punk scene in Nashville that I never knew about until I moved there. Yeah. So that's why I'm all about pushing Arnold Hill, the sound that they can provide, and you'll supply at a live venue. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, I mean there's so many like little venues in Asheville now that are like basically exclusively for punk at this point. Like there's Fleetwood's, the Odd, 27 Club, like. I mean, there's all the time in the Facebook groups that we're just seeing people pushing shows, or people coming through town, looking for venues or looking for gigs, and it's like, it's fun. Asheville we do have the bluegrass, we do have the newgrass, the jam bands, but it's like there's more to it too. There's alternative rock, there's some country acts in the area too that are a lot of fun and very authentic. So Western Carolina has some of the most talent of anywhere else in the whole country. I put my money on that for sure.
I fully agree with that. I mean, some of the most gifted musicians I'd ever met usually play in the bluegrass genre or the very like blue collar country stuff, but their technical skill. I mean, you look at John Five. He used to be with Marilyn Manson. Now he's doing his own thing. That guy is crazy talented, and I read a few Guitar World articles with him, and he talks about his fundamental training in country initially, and his chicken picking is off the charts.
There's also like a weird crossover, I think, in Asheville between the punk and the bluegrass, where it's like there's a punk band with a banjo, which is like super authentically Asheville, right? Of course it is. But it's like, there's crossover there in the lyrics and stuff too. It's like, living on your own, doing your own thing. So it's like, it works. So.
Yeah. And so what's funny, when I was still going to school at MTSU, we had Norwegian exchange students, and we were all in the studio working together. He was my mixing engineer and I was the producer. And he introduced me to a black metal band that featured an electric banjo. And at first I was like, there's no way. Then he put it on. And let me tell you how much that slapped.
Yeah. Please go with Adam, because Adam will probably lose his mind.
Oh my gosh! I'll never diss a banjo again.
There's one genre I can't get into. It's shoegaze. I can't do the shoegaze stuff. I know Adam's a big fan, and I wish he was
where's my bottle
to defend it, but I can't do it.
I've got a water bottle and it has a Boss pedal, but on the top where it has the name of the Boss pedal, it says shoegaze.
Oh, yeah, nice.
I can't do it, man. I'm like, come on, get some something.
My Morning Jacket.
I think it's good. But then again, like I said, I love Wolfpack. Wolfpack has gotten much popular, but like at the beginning when I was starting to listen to them, my wife said that it was the kind of music that would play at like a tchotchke store, like in a city downtown, like or at a dinner party, a cool dinner party or something.
That's so oddly specific.
Yeah, but she's not wrong. It's very accurate.
Okay, so real quick, what's the furthest you guys have traveled for a venue? I was just thinking about this the other day.
Recently, 200 miles.
Yeah.
Because we went down to Concord, right on the other side of Charlotte.
Oh, got it. Okay.
But I mean, if the opportunity's there, we'll go as far as we can within reason.
Yeah.
California?
Bring it on.
Sure. Hey, let's do it.
You forgot.
California.
Yeah. Give us some backline, and we're.
Get some backline and some roadie sauce.
Yes.
Dude, you guys come on up here. You can shred the gnar up at, Bear Mountain. It's pretty cool, man.
But don't put us on the 405. Like, I'd rather take the 10 and, go.
No, bro. No, that's not how you do it, man. You go over the 101, and then you go down the 10. You take 10 south.
Like, you say the number. We're just like, we're hopping on 40,
Not the 40. It's
Not
just
the
40.
40. We're just
Well, then up here, the difference is, and we were talking about this the other in Macon County, where Franklin is. All the main roads are just named of where you're going. There's the Georgia Road, the
Silver Road, the Murphy Road, the Bryson City Road.
It's like
The Highlands Road.
Yeah, that's just what they're called.
Real Road.
Well, that's funny because up in Mitchell, it's always the name of the road. Like, we got some major, like 1923 and all that, but you're always like, oh, you gone down to Possum Trot and then over to Raccoon Walk.
Yeah.
And then, you take that all the way down to Mine Creek to Loafer's Glory.
Yeah. Or up here, people make up names, where it's like, take the 4-lane, and it's like, what does that mean?
There's several of
It's the
those.
highway. There's lots of 4 lanes.
The 4 lanes is the 4 lane.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah.
We just got to get about 17 In-N-Out burgers.
Oh yeah, man. No, so here's the thing. So I recommend anybody try In-N-Out at least once. Have you guys had one before?
I've had many of them.
Not.
Well, all right. So it's kind of a thing. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the fries, so I don't go there that often. The fries are undercooked.
That's fair.
But then I get my fix for I call it an East Coast burger at Five Guys.
Mm-hmm.
Which has great fries.
Yeah.
Which has great fries, but it's stupid expensive. So.
Yeah, we did. I was in California for marching band in college. We had it, and then when I go to Vegas, it was always my last meal before I get on the plane because it would cure my hangover, and it was like just a comfort food at that point. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I always compare burgers, particularly burgers, to an establishment in Loafer's Glory. It's like the only establishment called Bonnie and Clyde's restaurant. And I grew up with those. They're a smash burger. It's greasy as hell. You can feel your arteries clogging the minute you take a bite, but it's a good burger.
We had a handful of those too.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it's the love I have for that, and since then I compare burgers to that, and the closest I've gotten is Five Guys, so that's why I call it East Coast.
Fair.
So, that being said, though, what is your dream venue? You guys probably have your own, but each have your own.
I've got 2.
Say one, because I bet one.
I know the menu at the same.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Red Rocks.
Oh yes.
Yeah, Red Rocks is up there for sure. I think for me, I got all of us.
Yep.
And then I would love to do the arena in London, not O2, but there's another one. No, what?
That burned down.
That's,
The Globe Theater.
Hundreds.
There's another one in London. I forget what it's called, but or in England, I guess. I don't know if it's in London proper. But yeah,
Proper.
I'll say Red Rocks.
Well, but also here locally, he did mention it. Just in Tennessee, there's the Caverns.
Oh yeah,
which is
Yes.
Yeah, underground, which is super cool.
Yeah.
That would be if we can't do Red Rocks. I guess we'll take the Caverns.
yeah. Not to say
Fair enough then.
Second, if anyone from the Caverns ever watches this,
that's true.
But
when we were still playing around the area, one of our dream venues, because it just opened up, was Orange Peel.
yeah.
Yeah.
That being said, like, the minute I get stationed in Japan, literally across the planet, the Smashing Pumpkins play a residency there for like 4 nights.
Yeah. It's such a great venue, man. The appeal is awesome. They keep making it better, honestly. So not to make you jealous or, anything like that, but it's like, up there for us for sure, I think, too.
Yeah. Just add another reason for me to want to get back to North Carolina as soon as I can.
Yeah.
Now, have you been to, that being said, have you been to Rabbit Rabbit yet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've seen a couple shows there.
We just, not that long ago, we saw the Amplified Echoes tour with Jimmy Eat World in Manchester.
Yes. How was Manchester? I know Jimmy was good.
It crushed it. Like, both, Jimmy hasn't skipped a beat. Dude still sounds the same. He's still got the swoosh.
Don't know what his name is. What's his name?
Jim Atkins.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Is his name Jimmy?
Jimmy Atkins.
Well, Jim Atkins.
Jim Atkins.
That's too easy.
But Manchester did great, and what was cool about their show is that they recorded their album at Echo Mountain in Asheville, and so when they would play songs, they were kind of being like talking about how it's so cool to come full circle, like to record now they're playing.
Yeah.
And the last time they were in Asheville, they were at the Orange Pill, and now they've moved up in scale to be at Rabbit Rabbit. Rabbit Rabbit's a great venue, and I feel like if one thing could change is the stage could be positioned different, because the way the sun sets, it sets behind the stage, and so it's like the whole time it's just in your face as you're going down. But other than that, it's a great venue. I love it.
Also, another great outdoor venue in Asheville is Salvage Station. If you get a chance to see a show there outside, they've really upgraded all their PA and their lights and stuff. That it's right on the river. There's food trucks. There's a bunch of beer vendors. It's incredible too. So,
that's wild. I definitely
about a month ago, and it was July 4th weekend, so there was fireworks going on behind them as they're doing the whole thing. It was magical, man, for sure.
That's cool. I've got a list of things that I need to do when I'm back in town, and that might have to get on there.
Yeah. Also, the Great Eagle, which we had the pleasure of playing this past Friday night. So.
Yeah, you guys played a patio show out there, correct?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The weather was perfect.
When the last time we shared a stage with Loafer's Glory was at the Great Eagle.
Yeah.
That's true. That was a fun show.
Yeah, it was.
But that's cool. I'm glad you guys got to go back. That's always been one of my favorites, and I'd always wanted to get up, play that venue at some point, and it finally did happen, and it was awesome.
Yeah, Jim, the guy that books it there, is really great, and he just did I don't know if you saw the press about the AVL Fest happened about a few weeks ago. Was a total success, and we're excited that that's happening in Asheville, and it's just bringing the magnifying glass to the Asheville and the Western North Carolina music scene. So
it's a lot of positive information out there, or a lot of positive news coming out of the area, and that's always a great thing to promote.
Yeah, for sure. So keep your eyes peeled for 2024. That's all I'm going to say. So,
ooh, foreshadowing. I
cut that part out. So yeah.
I guess that kind of goes into we're approaching we're past the hour mark, so I want to try to wrap this up, but I do have a couple more questions that I feel like I really want to get out there. So, what are your next immediate plans? What's in store? Within the next 3 or 4 months.
The obvious answer is writing more music, coming together. We're doing better of having writing sessions where someone's not just coming with lyrics. Like, we're trying to have full band. We're writing this organically, but also we're re-looking at our merchandise. Has a very creative girlfriend who is doing some cool art concepts for us. So that's at least for your answer or for your question in the coming months: merchandise and writing.
Yeah. We got
all right. So
too, we're excited about we're doing a brewery on Hendersonville called Okalaha. We're doing some new spots for us. We're keeping within the region and then trying to expand ourselves too. So if you're a venue looking for a van, call us.
Well, there you go. That's great news. Hopefully, because I would like to see you guys on a full-fledged like summer tour or something. I think that'd be friggin' awesome. So yeah, that answers that question. So you're going to be working on some new music, some wood shedding, probably expanding on that a little bit, and then new merch. So I'm going to try to get, as soon as you guys get that up, I'll try to share that link and try to get that information out there.
Yeah.
So now for the
current merch available. Yeah. Oh. ArnoldHillStore.com. It's all very rudimentary designed, and we're okay with saying that.
We are upgrading.
But if you want anything from a T-shirt to a yoga mat to a bucket hat, we got you covered. So
nice. So you said it was Arnold Hill Store?
That's it. Yeah.
All right, got it. I'll put that on when I post the recording later.
Yeah, for sure.
And let's see. So if I'm interested in checking out Arnold Hill's music, where can I find that?
So we're available on all streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, everything like that. Tidal, I guess that's still a thing. Pandora, all of it.
TikTok,
if you're a child. We also have our website, ArnoldHillMusic.com, and you can follow us at Arnold Hill Music on all social platforms, except for TikTok, as of now.
As of right now.
We'll let Sam take that one over.
I love TikTok.
He's a child, so it's fun.
I got to get my fix too. I got to have that dopamine.
Yeah.
I don't need anything else to make me late for work. So
He says he doesn't have TikTok. He watches TikTok videos about a week late through Instagram.
yeah,
And Facebook.
I'm totally okay with that.
Ugh. You're a media manager that doesn't get TikTok.
Not anymore. I gave that life up. I gave it up.
You gave up that dirty, filthy lifestyle.
That's it, yeah. Now I'm an event planner.
All right, fair enough. Well, this has been great. This is me, my label, Roan Audio Works, sitting down with Arnold Hill, if you're just now tuning in for whatever reason in the middle of a stream or a video. But it's been great. I hope to do this once again with whatever future projects you got in the works, the foreshadowing that wasn't or was mentioned earlier.
Yeah, for sure.
So sit down with you all again. But for right now, we'll let you go, get back to writing, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Cool. Thanks so much, Chase.
Chase.
All right. Take care, guys. Thank you very much.
See you, buddy.
See ya.
All right. Later.